I've spent about 30 hours in this anchorage, first anchorage in the Solomons, and I'm getting ready to get underway and sail 300 miles to the next spot where I'm going to be, which is this really cool group of reefy islands, kind of like the Mescalines where Dan and I spent time kiting, but way more reef, way better beaches. It should be a really good sail. I'm excited. It's going to be mostly sunny, light wind, so I'm going to have full sail, light waves. Honestly, I think it's going to be the nicest sail I've had in over a year. And just running around getting my boat ready to go because the forecast is a bit lighter than I anticipated, so I should have left earlier because I'm not sure that I can average 100-mile days, and I really need to arrive in the daylight this time around because it's a reefy one and I want to be able to see the reef and stuff. So anyway, it's so hot in the Solomons, it's wild. I only sailed 200 miles to get here, but I'm just bathed in sweat right now. The nights are really hot, and maybe it's also because of the sunshine, I don't know, but I'm really looking forward to getting a nice sea breeze. I might jump in the water briefly before I take off so that I'm just wet and I can cool down. This is probably the nicest passage I've had since New Zealand, and since when I arrived in New Zealand, so that would be November or December, so that would be about 7 months ago. The passage from New Zealand to Vanuatu was just, you know, cloudy every day and big waves, and then in Vanuatu pretty much every passage I had was really short, steep breaking seas, usually rainy or cloudy and often too much wind. Right now I have full sail out, the wind is just forward of the beam, the seas are way down, just little nice rolly guys, and it's sunny. I am feeling a little bit cool now, the sun is starting to set. It's just, I don't know, it's really amazing. I'm really happy out here, and I've been feeling a little bit burnt out for the past month, but what I am realizing is that it's because I love being at sea and I love passages, but when it's cloudy and rainy and squally and the seas are breaking and I have double reefed main and a tiny head sail, it's just not fun. It becomes more something to endure, and since it's been rainy and cloudy every day, I'm enduring to get to the next place where I'm gonna sit in the rain. So it kind of is all in that way that things make sense when you look back at them. It's all making sense why I've been feeling low energy and burnt out and unmotivated. But now I've just had a beautiful sunny day all day yesterday in Lata clearing in. Today's been a beautiful sunny day. It's finally amazing at sea. I'm just so happy. I stared at this cloud for about 15 minutes earlier. And now I'm remembering, like, oh yeah, this is what it's like to arrive and have it be sunny and to go out and walk around and not get wet and end a passage with a million wet things hanging on the line in the rain. Yeah, super happy now. Now I'm underway, 300 miles to go to get to, we're skipping a couple islands. We're going to the southeast corner of this one where it's really nice and reefy and there should be good breezes, no crocodiles, because now there's crocs to contend with in the Solomons, and just probably some nice clear water for free diving, snorkeling, maybe some kiting, maybe some surfing, maybe some wakeboarding, lots of options. So that's the next spot that we're stopping out at. I don't know if it's just because I haven't seen clouds in a really long time that didn't cover the entire sky with their gray lumpy masses, but these clouds are just groovy, man. I'm really enjoying all of them. It's my first night out. It's just been an absolutely gorgeous night. Stars, no rain. I was laid in the cockpit for hours and hours staring up at the stars. It's been so long since I've had such a nice night like this. The wind's on and off. It gets a bit light and the sails fluff around a bit, but I have slowly been turning onto my course, which is wind a little behind the quarter, and I finally was able to stick the head sail out on the other side of the boat, so I'm wing on wing, which just makes it really nice and easy for the wind vane to hold a straighter course for me. The wind vane loves being wing on wing. It doesn't round up as much or round down as much when there's gusts, and it's pretty gusty right now. Or not gusty, it's just yeah, the wind is pretty up and down and the wind vane's not great with those conditions, so now it should be easier. And I'm obviously exhausted, so I'm gonna go to sleep. It's my first morning. Last night was amazing. I did hour and 20-minute naps all night. Didn't have to get up once to change the course. I did have to get up once to change the head sail. I had it pulled out and then I switched it into not pulled out around somewhere in the middle of the night. But other than that, I just slept. I'd wake up and check the course. Everything was good, go back to sleep. So I feel very rested today. This morning when I woke up and went outside, I felt like I was back in French Polynesia on these long, beautiful, mellow passages between atolls and islands in the Marquesas. And this is really the first time I've had this feeling in ages. I think I got it a couple times in Fiji, but after that it's just been such a struggle every time I go to sea. And now it just feels easy again and beautiful and amazing. And for a second I did this thought exercise where I pretended I was about to sail to one of the atolls in the Tuamodus, and I got so happy because that is just really my happy place, is the Tuamodus. I've made myself a little tent house in the cockpit, and this is probably where I'm going to spend the entire day reading, listening to music, napping, maybe playing some guitar. It's really nice downwind days, sunny days like this when all I want to do is lie around outside and just be a lump. The book that I'm currently reading is called The Devil's Teeth by Susan Casey, and I first discovered her, she wrote a book called The Wave. I think it was called The Wave. I just finished reading it. Anyway, it's about rogue waves and big wave surfers, and I just loved her writing style. It's a combination of a little bit of science, but mostly adventure, but you're also secretly learning. So I went online to see what else she's written, and she's written a book about deep sea creatures and one about great white sharks. So I downloaded them both on my Kindle, and right now I'm reading the great white sharks one, and it's just absolutely fascinating. I really recommend her as an author to any of you guys who like that sort of book. I was so anti-Kindle for so long, and I kind of poo-pooed on it, and I was super like, oh, I'll only read a real book. But then after 2 years of cruising, I got really tired of only reading books that I could find in the book swaps at the library, like free book trade libraries, because sometimes you get gems, but for the most part you're reading books that you would never normally read. And there were all of these amazing books that I did want to read, and then I found out that if I just sucked it up and learned to like the Kindle, then the world was at my fingertips. And I bought one, and for the first year barely used it, and then recently in the last 6 or 7 months I've gotten super into the Kindle, and I've realized I can free up 1.5 lockers of space on my boat if I get rid of all my paper books. Everything can be on the Kindle, and I can just continuously read new and exciting material forever. It's really cool. So I'm totally team Kindle now. It took me years to change over, but I realized that I was just being a stubborn holdout, and this way I'm reading what I want to read and learning and enjoying, and it's just such a better experience. So now to clear up space in my book lockers, I'm slowly giving away books to the islanders that I meet along the way. So in Vanuatu, in my last island, I traded a book for some bananas. And in Lata, where I just left from, I gave 3 books to this woman who rode over in a canoe with her little son and gave me some flowers. And she runs a technical school, and I thought, oh, this is like a smart woman who wants some books. So I'm just dishing them out to people, spreading the love of novels. End of a really beautiful day at sea. The wind is starting to pick up a little bit, and I'm faced with this dilemma. It's the same thing that happened to me last time. I am going way faster than I thought I would, so if I continue to average this speed, I'll get in around midnight tomorrow night, which I don't want to do, obviously, because I'm going into a reef anchorage. So I'm gonna need to slow my boat down, which normally might bum me out, but I'm sort of zen-y about it, and also it just means that I'll sleep really well. If I'm slightly underpowered, there's not much that the squalls are gonna do sail change wise. It just might be getting up to, you know, fix the course or something. So I think I've just thrown a reef in the main, but I'm still going a little too fast. So I just put another reef in the main, and I'm slowing down a little bit. I'm also gambling because there's an island where I'll potentially get in the wind shadow sometime tomorrow afternoon, and if that's the case, it could be very, very slow. So I don't want to slow down too much so that I get there too late and then end up not getting to the anchorage in good daylight. But I also don't want to be so fast that I'm then trying to slow down a ridiculous amount, because that's also uncomfortable. Although being in the lee of the island, even if there is wind, there's probably not waves, so even if I slow down a lot, at least it's not rolly. So there's a lot of factors going on in the decision, and a lot of unknowns, and this is kind of, I think people who have bigger boats and more equipment and more steady averages of what they can do speed-wise don't have as many problems as me, but because my boat is so unpredictable, like I can average 130-mile days, or I can average 70-mile days, and I can look at the wind and try to guess what's gonna happen, but there's this weird, first of all, the weather predictions around here aren't great, so it was predicted to be pretty light wind this whole trip, so I thought I should leave earlier because I'm not sure if it's, you know, blowing 10 to 12 if I'm gonna average 4 knots or not. But I think it's always been blowing a little bit more than that, and it's a good wind angle, and the Geck is just feeling speedy these days. And then, of course, if I'm in a wind shadow, I can't guarantee, like, oh, I'll turn on the engine and I can definitely motor 5 knots, so no matter what happens, I'll make it in by this time. I definitely cannot motor 5 knots, and at the moment, with the oil leak, I'm not trying to motor as little as possible. So there's a certain amount of doing everything you can and without being ridiculous about it, and a certain amount of letting go. So I'm just kind of slowed down as much as feels anymore, and I think it would be uncomfortable, like if I took the whole main down. I won't do that unless the wind keeps picking up. But this feels good. It's really, really comfortable. The wind vane is holding pretty well. I feel like if it gusts up, I'm still okay, and if the wind drops too much, you know, I'm still gonna be okay. It's a great point of sail, so I'm just letting it go. And that's a lot of being at sea, is that you have to just let this stuff go, because there's not really much you can do about the weather, and that's pretty much the only thing that affects me when I'm at sea is the weather. My mood is pretty dependent on it, and since I'm alone, there's no human dynamics to get in the way. So it's really about just accepting what you have and not worrying about what's to come, but I guess a lesson that you can take into the rest of your life as well. Good morning, second full day out. Last night I had slightly less good sleep because the wind was a bit shifty. And then this morning I had to get up earlier than I wanted to change the course again, but still feeling very rested. I'd like to go back to sleep, but I'm not sure that I can. So I'm gonna make breakfast, but I wanted to share with you guys a little bit of what I typically eat at sea during the day, and then my rule is that once it's dark I don't eat because otherwise I'd just snack all night. So I like to start out with a bowl of muesli. This is weather dependent. Of course, if it's really rough, I'm not going to do a bowl of muesli because it'll just spill. Then I'll probably do crackers or a can of something, or eggs. But in this case, it's pretty flat, so I'm doing muesli with a banana. These bananas I got in Vanuatu, and half of an apple. And of course, I have my thermos of black tea with a little bit of milk in it for my caffeine kick, because, as I'm sure I've said before, I don't drink coffee underway, only when I'm in port. The waves are starting to stack up a little bit as I approach this shoaly pass area between the islands, and I was looking at it and I don't think I'm going to be in the wave lee of the big island before I go through the pass, so things could get a little nasty. I just battened the hatch in the main cabin. I've already taken a big wave in the cockpit, but yet I stubbornly persist in enjoying the outdoors, also because it's really hot down below. The wave came in and my phone, the speaker, my Kindle, and a pillow from inside were all in its zone, but luckily I only buy electronics that are waterproof, so Kindle speaker and phone are all waterproof. Speakers survived a lot. Now it's taken a whole wave. I'm just going to be sitting outside and kind of keeping an eye on things, making sure nothing hairy starts happening, and also just watching these waves get huger and huger and steeper, breakier and breakier, and hope the navionics charts are right about where the shoal is. I'm only a couple miles. Oh, here's a big set. Stacking up. I'm only a couple miles from shore and I can barely see. I just caught one of the islands, and I was thinking about, you know, back in the day when people only had sextants, how terrifying this area that I'm going through would be, because right now I'm like, oh yeah, I'll have to just sit out in the cockpit and pay attention, but then you wouldn't even know if you were in the right place. How would you know where the shoal was? The waves are getting big, you're keeping an eagle eye on the depth, you can barely see the islands. I would just be so nervous. We have it easy these days, guys. Anyway, it is a little weird to me that I can't see the land, so I'm just listening to Simon and Garfunkel, Concert in Central Park, which is one of my comfort albums, and watching the waves get bigger, watching the islands slowly pop out of the horizon, and just kind of waiting for this part to be over, because then I think it's gonna get really nice again. Like right now the wind's up and the waves are a bit choppy, but I think it's gonna all chill out and might be able to raise the main again and just relax. 12 o'clock. Of course, I can't go anywhere without my trusty Sao Biscuits. Any of you guys who are sailing in the Pacific probably recognize these. They're everywhere, and I love them because they're really plain, but they're not, how do I describe this? If they tasted really good, I would just snack on them. But because they're plain, it's not something that I crave, but whenever I'm feeling a little bit hungry, like sometimes I get up in the middle of the night and do stuff for an hour, and then I just eat 2 of these boys and go back to sleep. Or if I'm feeling snacky, all it takes is 2 or 3 to kind of take the edge off. And they do have a nice crunch to them. I don't know, they're just really delicious, and they're one of my main staples on the boat. So right now I'm feeling a little bit hungry, but I'm not sure what I want to eat, so I'm gonna take 2 of these. It's like hardtack, but nicer, like bougie hardtack, and just munch on them in the cockpit. Alright, it's lunchtime, and I'm going to eat a pamplemousse. These are my favorite tropical fruit that I've encountered ever. They're so yummy. One of the challenges of cooking or even making tea underway, especially downwind, is that nothing you set down is going to stay where you put it, so everything has to be wedged. That was my hair, but it's actually the lock. And there's lunch. One of my all-time favorite snacks at sea, which I eat pretty much every day, is popcorn, which I love because it stores tiny and then you pop it and it becomes like a big snack. So it is one of the most boat efficient and delicious snacks you can possibly have. I probably eat it every single day at sea. I go through a variety of things that I like to put on my popcorn, but recently I found this yummy Asian salt at one of the Asian markets, and then I'm a sucker for nutritional yeast. I think it goes really deliciously on popcorn, so I usually put that on. And then sort of a variety of spices depending on what I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll do curry, sometimes I do rosemary or sage, salt, pepper, kind of garlic powder. I'm feeling really crazy. Sort of depends on my mood, but it's just such a yummy, savory snack, and it's so versatile. For dinner, I'm going to poach 2 eggs in this can of tomatoes, so I'm gonna put this in the pot. Heat it up, and then once it's boiling, crack 2 eggs in there. Other important ingredient is hot sauce. Garlic, oregano. Now you can see it's getting nice and bubbly, so we're gonna add the eggs. Adding the eggs is always the scary part because I never know if they're gonna be good or bad. I bought 12 dozen eggs at the store, I bought 12 eggs at the store once, and half of them were rotten. So what I like to do, I actually don't enjoy this at all, but it's in my mind the easiest way to check for a rotten egg is that I crack it very gently on the side of the pot until it's got a little crack like this, and then I stick my thumb in and then smell it. You'll know right away if it's bad. This one smells good. You can see there's just a tiny bit of opening, so then I'm gonna put this one in. Same with this guy. A little bit of a crack, a smell, and a drop. Now I'm just going to gently spoon sauce over these eggs to bury them. And it's harder because the boat is rolling so much, so they're getting a little bit mixed in, but that's okay too. And then I'm just going to let it sit until they're cooked. If I had cheese, I would add it. If I had sour cream, I would add it. If there were more people, I would add black beans to the side. Oh, some cilantro. Man, I mean, there's so much that I would add, but this is like boat passage cooking, simple, easy stuff with very limited ingredients sort of thing. And the good part about not having that much food is that I get bored of it and then I don't eat too much. If I had all the ingredients I wanted all the time at my disposal, I would be eating about 3 times as much. Now this meal is best enjoyed just straight out of the pot. I have a little trivet so I don't burn my legs. And yeah, super tasty. I do have to wait for it to cool down, but there's dinner. And for a little pre-bed snack, I really love these coffee hard candies. So this is usually my go-to if I want something sweet. I'll have one of these. Alright, the sun just set and I have hove to because I am just going way too fast, even with only a triple reefed main up. But it is so rolly on my boat when I heave to. I'm kind of in a minefield of rain right now, so there's rain there, there, and then a big patch of rain there, and it's all upwind of me. Well, the wind totally died, and somehow I can only make a knot and a half of motoring, and I have 7.5 miles to go. So I've just had my very first Solomonsy experience of the Solomons. This guy in a canoe came up and told us that this was his island and that we had to leave right away, and I almost cried because I had been at sea for 3 days. I'm exhausted. I had 1 night of rest after a 2-day passage to get here, and I was like, are you shitting me? Thanks for watching this week's video. I put out new videos on YouTube every 2 weeks, and for my patrons, you guys get a video snack on the weeks that I don't put out full-length YouTube. A lot of the Patreon videos I do are special requests about things I do on my boat that maybe I don't think to show on YouTube, or specific questions you guys have of ways I do things. Thank you, Tish, for helping me get these videos scheduled, reminding me when I need to do another edit, and just generally being like an awesome, I don't know, organizer of this old brain, of my brain. Help, Tish. Thank you for your comments. I love them. I love reading them. Thank you to the gods of the wind for like blowing my boat to the next island. Thank you to the sunshine for charging my batteries. I think that's everything. No, it's not everything. If you'd like to become a patron, my Patreon is patreon.com/windhippie. Thank you so much to all of my patrons. You guys make it so that I can be ridiculous on my boat in the middle of the ocean and continue to do so. For one-time donations, I have a PayPal, paypal.me/windhippie, and I just appreciate everything you guys donate to me and give to me. It is my entire cruising budget, so it just depends on your generosity and those of you who are becoming part of the journey, because the money you give me buys pieces for my boat and food for inside of me and experiences, cultural experiences. Yeah. I have merchandise, Wind Hippie clothing, and etc. on a website in the link below. And I think that is it. Thank God. Patrons, I'll see you guys next week with a snack, and YouTube friends, I'll see you in 2 weeks with another full-length episode. Bye!